Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, J.C. Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: distractions. So today we are going to talk about distractions because distractions are a common topic that comes up inside of our Empire Boardroom calls that we have with just the men inside of Legacy Farmer every single Wednesday. Now, this is like a common problem and common theme that goes across farmers or ranchers. It's very easy for us to get distracted. And what I mean is we do not know how to keep the main thing. We are constantly comparing ourselves to other operations around us, looking at what everybody else is doing. And then we start telling ourselves these stories around how much money they're making. And so then we kind of start looking for other areas of opportunity as well. And we're constantly distracted and we do not know how to keep the main thing. And now, perfect example is one of the members came on the call today. And a situation came up where they're renting some ground and, prices of ground across the country have increased pretty dramatically based off of what our members kind of told us. And then obviously what's happening with prices here in Kansas that I know a little bit more about. But a situation came up where one of our members was renting some ground and the owner of the ground, their kids just got ownership over the ground over the inheritance and they want to sell it. Well, the first offer that they, obviously offered the ground to was one of our members. And the thing is inside of Legacy Farmer, we do not make emotional-based decisions. We base everything off of the numbers and farmer metrics that all of our members have access to that tells them exactly what their financial position is at all times and that they can update, and that simplifies the numbers for business owners. It did not make financial sense. It does not make financial sense for this member to actually purchase this ground because financially it'll never work. And the thing is with farmer metrics too, guys, is it gives us the ability to look into the future. And what I mean by that is if we make this decision today, how's this going to impact our operation a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Those are the types of that's the type of analysis that we do with our members inside of Farmer or inside of Legacy Farmer. We don't make anything just off of a hunch. There's no decisions like that. If it doesn't make sense in the numbers, and you can't explain the purchase or the decision that you're wanting to make based on what the numbers are telling us, then we're not going to do it. Now, obviously, we don't tell the members that they can't do this or whatever, but we just open up all the potential problem areas that could come up here. And we talk about it and we talk through it. And the thing is, guys, this is what's great about it. Is on our call today, we're openly talking about this. And it's not just Jace, talking to this member about this problem. There's 30 plus other members on the call, all of which have had experience with this or all have seen other people in their life go through the same situation. And the thing is that if you're making these decisions and you're not financially ready for it, it's going to wreck you, okay? But the thing is, though, is that this decision just turned out to be another distraction, okay? It distracted our member. They've been thinking about this for 2 weeks now, and it just completely distracted them from their family, from their other core businesses that they're running, and it distracted them from what the main thing is, okay? And when I'm saying keep the main thing, when you look at your business, there's really only one or two key areas that are actually making you the most money. It kind of goes back to the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the actions that you're taking in the business are producing 80% of the revenue. Okay, and if the decision that you're looking at making is not the one that's going to increase the revenue of your main thing, then yeah, you're going to need to start looking elsewhere. And then the other thing is I don't care if it increases it or not, if it doesn't make sense financially, you can't do it. Okay, and here's another situation that's come up here a few times is, again, we're all emotional beings and we're tied to the farm or we're tied to the cattle or we're tied to whatever that we're doing inside of our operation. And the thing is that keeps us, we don't value our time accordingly, guys. We do not put a high enough dollar value on the hours that we work per day. Okay, and I was this way when I first got into being an entrepreneur, and a majority of our members are this way when they first come in because we've always been taught that way. We've always been taught that, we go out and we do kind of the shit work and that's the way we value our time. Guys, you have to start valuing your time more, which means when you're looking at expanding and you're really looking into one of these potential distractions that popped up and it's additional source of revenue or it could expand what you're doing, if it is not increasing your profit per hour, and I'm talking seriously about that. If it is not increasing your profit per hour, take the total amount of money you made last year. Most of you listening to this right now don't even know what that number is, but take the total number of money that you made last year, divide it by the number of hours you worked. That is your value per hour. And if I'm looking at doing anything inside of my business, whether it's expansion, whether it's purchasing something, or whether it's adding in a new product line or whatever that is, if it is not increasing my value per hour, then I am not going to do it. And by value per hour, I mean putting more dollars into my bank account for my family. That's how I make decisions. And if the numbers don't match up, then I'm not going to do it. If the thing doesn't fit into what our sole purpose is as an operation, is just going to end up being a distraction, I'm not going to do it. And one of the other members came up today and was talking about kind of expanding the cattle operation and going into a different direction with embryos and stuff like that, adding that in. I asked him at the end of it, I said, well, how much is this going to make you per year? He's like, about $5,000 to $10,000. I'm like, okay, $5,000 to $10,000. We've talked about this for 15 minutes. You're completely stressed out about it. You have all these fears and doubts and uncertainty around it. So is this really worth the $5,000 to $10,000? With the fears and doubts and uncertainty you have, we haven't even figured out the numbers yet. So what we're talking about here right now is just the emotional side of this. Once we actually put the numbers into farmer metrics, that'll be the final determining factor. But just walking through that process, they realized that, hey, this is nothing but a distraction. I need to keep the main thing. I need to focus on the 20% of activities that are producing 80% of the income that is feeding my family. Everything else is just a distraction. Okay. And a lot of times then what'll happen is you do the same thing over and over again and you kind of get a system worked out. Well, then the problem we run into is that entrepreneurs get bored, business owners get bored. And so they have two choices there. They can either burn it down or they can expand into other areas, right? And the thing is if you really focus on keeping the main thing, and you do this for several years on end, okay? Nobody comes into Legacy Farmer looking for quick fixes. We make that very clear. Because the problems and challenges that we're handling, those things have been built over decades. They're not going to be unraveled in a few months or even a year, like with the amount of time that our members are with us. But when we're looking at fixing those things or taking advantage of these new opportunities, again, if it does not make sense financially, then we're not going to do it. If it doesn't fit into what we are really doing and keeping the main thing, then we're not even going to explore it anymore. We're getting focused back on what is the main thing, how can I make that better? And then what I was talking about there is if you just focus on that for 3 or 4 years and you get the systems, the processes, and the people in place, you are going to free up your time and you are going to increase your value per hour. And then you are going to be able to spend your time doing whatever the heck you want. And maybe that is expanding into a new area or a different venture or whatever it may be. Great. You've spent the time systemizing and getting all the processes and people in place with your current venture. Now you have earned the right to step into these other areas. But again, we go back to the topic of this episode, which is distractions. Everybody is so freaking distracted these days. They're constantly comparing. They're constantly looking at different things they can do that are literally not going to put very many dollars in their pocket. Like you're looking for revenue to make payments maybe, but what we're looking for here inside of Legacy Farmer is profit. I could care less about your revenue. I want to know what amount of money are you taking home to your family after you make all your loan payments, after you pay your bills, after you pay your taxes, after you pay everything. Because if it doesn't increase profit, then I'm not going to be interested in doing it. Okay. And I get that some of these decisions, they may serve your emotional need to own more ground or buy the ground that's right next to you that's coming up that'll never come up again for sale. That's a common saying. Then you're going to set yourself up for failure there if you're making those decisions based off of emotion. And the other thing is like going back to our member that was talking about buying the ground, we're not just making a decision that'll impact us this year. When you're looking at purchasing ground, you're making a 20-year decision. This is why. Not only do we have to factor in the emotions around the decision, but if you don't know the numbers and you haven't thought through this in a detailed level that like Farmer Metrics allows you to do, you could be making a massive, massive mistake. And how many people do you know inside of your life right now that have made multi-million-dollar decisions, either purchasing ground, putting up buildings, whatever it may be, based off of just how they felt? They have no idea where they're at financially. They just wanted the ground. Guys, that is a recipe for disaster. And eventually, one way or another, the people that are operating their business that way, they will go under. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it will happen. And again, this isn't me just talking out of theory. I've talked to we have almost 300 members inside of Legacy Farmer now. This is a common discussion that comes up. And it's not just from people in the Midwest. We have people out in California, clear up to Delaware. All of them have some type of experience with this or know people that have been through this. And this is just the cost, guys, of getting distracted and not focusing on your numbers, not focusing on making the right decisions that actually fit into your operation. And again, if we're looking at expanding or whatever, we're going to keep the main thing, and we're going to focus on the things that produce the 20% of activities that produce 80% of our profits. And if it doesn't increase profits, then I'm not interested in wasting my valuable time doing it. Okay. So my friends, I hope this gave you a different way to look at your time. I hope it gave you a different way to look at your operation. And I hope it just gives you some things to think about. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and we will catch you on the next one.